What is up? What is up? How we doing, hubby? Okay, I'm having technical difficulties here with going live. I scheduled the show, tried to go live 10 minutes ago, couldn't figure it out, had to delete the show and just start brand new, fresh live. So a little flustered. I got to figure out what I'm doing here. I'm not a fan of StreamYard. I haven't found a better solution, so I'm probably gonna go back to using StreamYard. Um, welcome. Today is Monday, the 7th of July. Just to quickly remind you, tonight on ESPN, I don't remember the time. You check it up, check on your local thing. Is the Fanatics live debut video? They're going to show movie, show, series. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's longer than a video. It's like I think 30 minutes or an hour. But they'll do Fanatics live tonight on ESPN. That should be cool. I'm excited to watch that. See if I see anybody in the background that I know. Kind of reminisce about stuff. Again, had a great time Fanatics Fest. Looking forward to the next one. I will just going to go on the record here real quickly and say the next one is going to be next year. And interestingly enough, I heard somebody talking about the fact that next year you have the World Cup going on in 2026. And I think there's some major stadiums and stuff and activities going on. So it could be some cool World Cup activity for Next Fest, depending on when they schedule it. If it's June, July, August, I don't care. Don't know. Can't wait. Looking forward. I don't think there's going to be one in December as much as I want there. In fact, I'm going to say there's not one, so they'll make one happen. That'd be great. This video today, I want to talk about rookie royalty WNBA. I've seen a lot of videos about that. I'll put a big scream. I'll put a thumbnail up later on talking about who made all the money in this. First of all, let me start with a few things. I love ChatGPT. Well, I like ChatGPT because I would love it if it didn't get shit wrong all the time. I say that because if you're using AI, check your facts, question the AI, challenge the AI, debate the AI. I started my conversation today where I wanted to get some numbers on the rookie royalty product. Personally, I'll give you a quick snapshot. I found it very interesting. I think this is a really great case study on licensing, the power of licensing. Product came out, Dutch auction. Everybody will tell you $30,000. I don't know a single person who paid $30,000. I know one person who's publicly come out and said they spent $15,000 or $16,000 on one box, right? Mojo Break said that in one of their videos that they went out and bought one box at a high price. Then he said later on he bought most of his boxes, I want to say between $4,500 and $5,000, somewhere in there. I do think that's common. I do think a lot of people bought one or two here and there, right? Tested the waters. I think most of them sold under $5,000. I'm going to use 5,000 as kind of a round number. The reason I say that is when I started looking at this, I don't want to be judgmental and say, boy, someone screwed up, but it's so interesting to look at how this product rolled out, like a case study. Let's look at this. So, for example, why didn't they roll out each product? Why didn't they do a flawless release? And why didn't they do an immaculate release and a noir release? And I will say, I've been critical. I've been saying for a long time, like, I can't believe that Panini's not going to take advantage of that. Like, why would they not milk the freaking WNBA license? Well, they did something different, right? They made the rookie royalty. I would say this, right? Good and bad. Let's weigh both. Good. If they'd made all 5 of those products that they could have made full packed out with a checklist, other players, I think that would have hurt the hobby. I do. I honestly think they were foresight enough to realize that saying, okay, we make all this, people will buy it, but most of them are going to complain that they were paying for the Caitlin Clark, and a lot of people are walking away with non-Caitlin Clark stuff, that the value just really was not there. Again, I applaud Panini. Like, at the same time, logically, that doesn't make sense. Like, why would they have cared that much? But I just am shocked they didn't go ahead and flood the market with, like I said, 4 or 5 different products. The cracked ice, they could have made contenders, a noir, an iMac, a flawless. They could have made all that stuff. They could have done that. They didn't. They gave us just they gave you like sushi style, just the toro, just the fatty tuna, nothing else. So when I looked at that, I was skeptical in the beginning. I knew no one would spend a lot. I will tell you, I did not watch the bidding on Monday that this took place. I think it was a week ago from the day or 2 weeks ago. I would have totally bought a box around $4,000. I'm not going to lie. I would have done it. I would have wanted to buy more, but I would have pulled the trigger on one box at 4,000. And I wish I was watching, because I wish I had done that. Would I buy it at 8,000? No, but I understand the people who are doing that. So let me get back to my point here. I was playing with ChatGPT, and first of all, on the release day, I was watching some breakers, and I said release day is on. It was sold on a Monday, released and broke on Wednesday, and that was very suspicious to me. I think that was more interesting to me about how fast this product was sold, and then the breakers had it on Wednesday. Is distribution done like right there in Florida where all the breakers are? I don't know. Our company that participates in breaking did not chase rookie royalty. So as I said, that was not on our radar. But what I like watching is the market on this and how it was going to be sold and how it was going to be broken. First of all, let me also say this too. I heard so many content creators out there and influencers who absolutely know nothing about breaking. They know nothing about sports cards. They know nothing about rookie royalty, who are just making shit up. Like, could you imagine being a break for $30,000 and missing getting the Angel Reese? Well, I can assure you, no one was on a $30,000 break for one box who got the Angel Reese card. I never saw it happen. I don't think anybody would do that. Right? That's just not gonna happen. Like, let me quickly make a quick side note. If you want to understand the hobby more, you do not have to participate in breaks. But if you get closer to breaks, you're going to see the velocity. And what I mean by that is how product moves, how it's priced, how people react to that. No better place to watch it than in breaking. So I'll do a separate video on this later on, but one of the breakers I watch, and I'm going to quickly say it right here, I watched Backyard Breaks on release day, Wednesday, when they did it. The reason I did that was because I felt like they were probably, and this is going to be shocking to many, the most transparent with what the checklist was and how you bought into the break. Let me say that again. Backyard Breaks, in my opinion, was the most transparent on what was in the checklist and how you could buy into the break. Let me give you an example. They were selling 356 total spots. Now, what they did is they broke up the product. So you had like the cracked ice, Caitlin Clark, serial numbered 1 through 10 was a spot. And I'm giving you an example. Don't quote me on any specific spot. That's probably not a specific spot, but that's an example. They would have had Caitlin Clark, Gold Kaboom, 1 through 3, 1 to 5. I don't know. They broke up everything. So they created 356 spots. Were those 356 spots balanced? No, absolutely not. Right? If you're getting one of the non-Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese players, those players were only going to be coming up in kabooms and downtowns. They had no auto capabilities. So if you got one of those spots, not a good spot to have. But again, very transparent, 356 spots. The layers you could get into, each spot was equal. They were charging $300. Was it $300? I want to say it was $200. I want to say it was $199. I don't recall. I'll tell you this. What I do recall is that the total for the break was roughly $72,000 for a 10-box break. Now, again, please, if you're paying attention, don't just start cutting these blurps and misunderstanding stuff. 10 of the royalty boxes were in a break, which means a total of 20 cards, 356 total spots, $190, $200 per spot on day one. Roughly $72,000 per break is what you were paying for the break. The break transparent. That's what the money was collected, and they were going to sell at 20 cards. Now, I will also add to that, for every break, they were including one full box into another break. So in essence, they were actually selling 11 boxes for $72,000 in their break. How does that compare with the market? Okay, it was higher than they paid. Duh. I mean, nobody's in business to lose money. No one is in business to lose money. They might run stuff at a loss, but no one's in business to, hey, I'm going to lose money, and that's my business model. Okay. So they probably got in, I'm going to assume $5,000 a box. That's probably wrong. They probably got it less than that, but at $5,000 a box, and they were selling it roughly $7,100 to $7,200 a box. Okay. So they had about 40% margin marked up in that. Is that good or bad? I don't know. I'm just giving you some guesstimates. Some people say that's awful. I will tell you, I thought others were doing more. We're doing higher margins. I will also say, day two, they did adjust their numbers. Now, they also adjusted numbers in a couple ways. As spots were taken out of 356, they removed those spots, which again was very fair, very active on their check listing. So if the one of one logo person was a spot and it was gone, well, then it was not in the next break. So a couple things I want to quickly say, and I'm not going to spend time on the break, but you got a lot of break information. They told you there that there were roughly 3,500, there were roughly 1,600 boxes, 1,700 boxes. I can confirm based on some calculations that I did. And let me just quickly say on a side note, somebody needs to build an app with AI. And I'm looking in this right now because I'm using AI to look in this right now. So we can maybe do this together if you want to. But you should have an app that you got on your phone that simply says rookie royalty. You give it a link to the checklist you want it to have, or just say, it should only have to say rookie royalty. And it should be able to go out there and find the checklist and break down for you the entire checklist, like how many Patrick Mahomes autos are in the product, and estimate where the numbers are unknown, right? How many relics are in the product, how many base cards. It should be able to give you everything. It should be able to dissect a checklist for you, so then you can also understand print runs. I mean, think about this. It makes, like, I did that with AI, and I'll quickly say this. I used ChatGPT talking through rookie royalty, and we calculated there's 1,654 boxes. Now, I want to point out, when I first asked when I first asked ChatGPT to look into this, I simply said, ChatGPT, I'm trying to figure out the print run for this box, how many boxes are made, make the assumptions that there's an Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark in each box, so we'll each have an auto. Here's a checklist, blah, blah, blah. And its first estimate were 3,000 boxes. And I'm like, that's wrong. And I had to explain to it and show it. And we finally came down to the rationalization, because I had to teach it things like, if it says NT auto numbered, dash number to 49, that's 49 different variables. Plus you've taken the 1 and 1s, the 10s, the 25s, all those stuff. So after I educated that, I thought to myself, I'm training this this chat GPT on how to understand a checklist. Well, why can't we do this over and over? And I'll tell you, if you ask your chat GPT to do it again, it doesn't seem to learn as fast as I want it to. So I even asked it, why can't we make this a dedicated app that all the AI would do is focus on sports cards and build that? And it says, yeah, we could. Why don't we do that? So side note, once you build out that API and you look at the numbers, you find out there's 1,654, 54 boxes. Estimated those boxes sold around $5,000. Estimated around $7 million was made by Panini selling those boxes. But I want to point out real quickly, if Backyard Breaks, they did, I said 71,000. I'm sorry. I think it was, they did 10 of those. They're getting a 40% markup already. So think about how much money, I don't want to say was left on the table, but could have been extracted out of the product. And I will say that's why I think today's market value of those boxes at 8,000 is a market-driven price, right? Because you can look at there and calculate what are the comps of certain cards going for, what's the hit ratio. Like, another thing I want to quickly clarify too, again, looking at the checklist, is that your percentage chance of getting a Caitlin Clark card are 58.1%. I think that's actually pretty interesting. And I actually think it's greater, because I was trying to explain this, the API. Again, the reason for this, these are hand-packed. If you understand it's hand-packed, you can understand that they're never going to put two Caitlin Clarks in the same box. So if there's a Caitlin Clark auto, there will never be a Caitlin Clark downtown or Kaboom, right? But what I at least got ChatGPT to understand is that there's a greater chance that they will not be in the same box together. You're not going to have two autos in the same box together, which therefore you actually have, I think I calculated around 65% chance. If you open a box, you might not get a Caitlin Clark auto, but you'll get a Caitlin Clark card. And that being the case, and this is just me calculating numbers, and I wish there was better mathematicians on this, that product is one of the most lucrative products that's been released. I mean, at $3,000 to $4,000, it was handing you money, right? Because you had roughly a 60% chance of getting a Caitlin Clark item. The cheapest Caitlin Clark items are going for let's say $6,000. So you're making money on those boxes, right? Even right now, I don't want to tell you to go do it, because I wouldn't do it. I also would be fearful of the box scanning, and there's so many other issues in there. But this is one of those examples, man, where if you pay attention to the market, you can learn a lot, right? And I'll tell you too, I'm not the only one doing this, right? Other people have been looking at boxes and looking at prices and checklists. And this is why I've been saying this for a long time. Breaking up sports cards is mathematical. When you're breaking up sports cards, it's people looking at the odds, they're looking at the checklists, they're looking at historical sales, they're looking at current market values, whatever it might be. But it's odds. And I would say there needs more education on that, more transparency to that. Like, I like the transparency if you can figure out the value of a break. I need to turn on the chat. I have no chat here. If anybody's chatting, please chat. Let me know if you're hearing me. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm talking to nobody, and that would even suck more. But I would encourage you, run out there, run some numbers. Check out the checklist. Look at Caitlin Clark. And I'm not telling you to look at to buy it. I'm just saying, look at how this information, when you pull this information together, it makes you a better buyer. I don't think the checklist came out before the product was sold on Monday, which wouldn't put you in kind of a disadvantage in buying. But you'll also quickly answer to those people out there and go, well, I don't understand. If you could have bought it on Monday for $4,000, why are you paying $8,000 today. We say some foolish things, don't we? All I say, guys, think a lot. Did I have anything else to talk about with the Caitlin Clark, where the money's going? Check those comps. I can't wait to see. We're seeing right now comps of raw cards. I can't wait to see comps of the PSA slab cards. I can't wait to see auction prices. I cannot wait to see. Oh, I saw a video recently too. It was Simon, and again, I really enjoy Simon's content. I will say Simon, like many, and I'm going to a quick side note here. Most content creators cannot handle criticism. They can't. I mean, they cannot handle any criticism at all. If you criticize them, it's like they're, and I'll say this too, guys, taking criticism is hard. I'm not going to sit here in my glass house and throw a rock. When people criticize me, I look at it, I think about it. It makes me wonder, what did I do wrong? Did I say something? Did I misunderstand my message? Somebody called me out the other day for saying that I'm too opinionated and I don't listen to other people's opinions. And I hope I'm wrong. If you have a really good argument or a good opinion, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to debate it. Oh, how long until all the boxes have been seen? Exactly, John. That would be my, I am nobody. No, you're not, John. The other John's here. I agree with that. The CT scanning thing concerns me because no one's talking about it. And I'll also say this too. It's just like the hobby. No one talked about it last year either. Last year, this time, no one was talking about it. I think it was like August of last year where it kind of started leaking. I think Neo and Boston Card Hunter were the first two channels. Well, that's not true, actually. The first channel that talked about that, guys, was the Sold Too Early podcast, right? They talked about it first. The guy had an IG of I want to say a Chinese Instagram account showing CT scanning a flawless, specifically calling out Panini. It was like an attack on Panini's flawless product and how lazy they were. And since then, Neo and Boston Card Hunter ran with that story and people are aware of it. But again, nothing's changed. Like nothing has absolutely changed. Now you can just make money on it. There's a business in CT scanning. That is why I'd be concerned about the rookie royalty too, because I'll put it this way. If I bought 10 of them and I opened 5 of them and all 5 of those were Caitlin's, I'm more likely to sell the last 5. So I'm thinking, well, odds are those are not Caitlin's and I'm going to put them on the market. Now, did I CT scan them? No, but I mathematically use knowledge to get a better perception of their position in the market. Does that make sense? And that is something that's very concerning. Oh, another quick comment I want to make about the rookie royalty thing that I thought was interesting. That completely cut out the distributor. So if Panini had made a product, let's say they made a product, how much would they have to given up their distribution? Did they make more money at selling at $5,000 a box? Let's say they assume they sold at $5,000 a box on average for the 1,654 boxes, making roughly, let's say, $8 million. Is that more net money than if they had sold it through the distribution channel? I wonder. I think it doesn't cover me scanning boxes with that referral. Yeah, I just think it's an interesting market thing. What else is it? While we have John, the 70s Sports Card Show in here, shout out to you. Hobbypalooza is coming up. John, you can be part of that? I'm looking forward to that. It's in 2 weeks. I'm really looking forward to it. I love the fact that the 4 Collectors has taken it over. I won't say taken over, but they're kind of running it, organizing it. I think they should do it like 24/7. I think they'd run it really late. It starts really early, but they should just make it 24/7. Like get some freaking international. Go international with that show. I know Korean Cardboard would jump in for an hour, wouldn't you, man? If he was out there, he'd run an hour. And there's that other guy. Who's that other guy in Korea who does this great content? It's not Korean Cardboard. It's somebody else. I can't remember who it is, but you know who you are. And I'm bad with names, like I am with Professor Sports Card. Wow, I'm like one of my biggest audiences right now. I feel like I don't want to quit. So we're talking about Caitlin Clark. I don't have anything else to talk about. I do want to talk about gambling later. George and Dan. Oh, yeah. See? Did you get to participate in Hobbypalooza? I do not participate in Hobbypalooza. I have not been invited back in the last 2 years. And what I mean by that is, it's funny. Let me just see. My problem is I've been around too long and I know too much and I say too much. And that pisses people off. First Hobbypalooza was ran the exact time that Jeff Wilson was running his virtual national. Like it was basically the vintage community going, let's be honest, come on. At that time, it's 2020, everybody's stuck at home. Jeff Wilson's, woo, hello, and he's launched Market Movers. And Card Ladder had just launched their thing too. And the Card Ladder guys hated the Market Mover guys. And I say that because, look, I'll just tie some things. Bench Clear Media used to once include House of Jordan and Under Bench Clear Media. That's all I'll say. You can look that up. Anyway, first Hobby Palooza was not, in my opinion, not meant to be very hobby friendly. It was basically a middle finger to Jeff Wilson, who's running his virtual, and they ran their thing, and they both ran competing. And I thought it was interesting. Oh, it's always good to lay down your middle finger, John. It is good. You're not going to, and all you need to do, is the impact worth the finger? Probably not, but maybe one person gets a kick out of it. Second year, by the way, of Hobby Palooza, I was invited, and I brought in somebody else. Second and third year, I was there, and I brought other people in. I've always been one of those inclusive people. I want to grow the hobby, share more people, get more channels. I don't have an hour worth of collecting content really to go with, so I'm okay with not being part of it or not having an hour. I wish I would have invited to participate, but that's okay. You know, people don't. I'm a very polarizing person. I really am. I've come to accept that. The third and fourth years, third year last year, and then fourth year, I didn't get any invites at all. I think, I don't really. I'm not hurt about it. I moved on. If I want to be active in it, I could be more active in that community. I'm passively involved in that community. I've always been a fan of that community. I did the videos a few years ago on the Hobby Hall of Fame. Like, I'm a big fan of the Hobby Hall of Fame. But then when I started seeing how, in my opinion, it started getting watered down to all you got to do is have a channel that puts out a lot of fake content every day, and then you'll get votes. But anyway, I digress. What do you? I like what you have to say, Ziggy. You seem to think for yourself. I appreciate that, John. I really do. I do feel like I think for myself. I will say this. I'm going to be brutally honest. I got in a disagreement with one of my friendly content creators today. I am now a minority owner in a breaking company. And that goes two ways for me, like in the sense that what I say, I have to think about that before I say something stupid that my partners or my company would be upset about. And I also feel like if they did something stupid or embarrassing the hobby, it would affect my hobby reputation. So that is why I will say I'm more filtered on some topics. I'm more aware of things that I was not aware of before. But my core is still to making the hobby a better place, if that makes sense. And I'm happy to debate, talk to people about anything I can. I freaking love the hobby. Like, for example, I will do another video specifically on the breaking and gambling thing. I'll leave it at that. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm over 20 minutes. I don't want to go too far. Guys, thanks for jumping in. Thanks for asking questions. I really appreciate you. We will do more. We will do lots more.